What's going on, guys? Today I wanted to make a video talking about supplements and which ones I believe to be important, and perhaps you might even say necessary, especially depending on your diet. I'm going to go over supplements based on someone that's following a pretty healthy, whole foods, omnivorous diet, I guess you could say, because if we were to discuss vegans and carnivores, specifically, that's a whole other topic. So I just kind of want to talk about ones I think that kind of everyone can benefit from. And then also I'm testing out filming on my laptop instead of my phone because of that audio issue I had last time. So hopefully the video quality is a little bit better. I'm just kind of tinkering with some stuff now, with lighting and everything and sound, and I've got a microphone and whatever. So hopefully everything's good. So let's do it. So like I said, it all depends on your diet. There are a few things I think that are necessary kind of regardless of what your diet is like. The main one would be magnesium. So magnesium is one of the most common nutrient deficiencies that people suffer from. It's used in over 800 different enzymatic reactions in your body. So there's this giant gap as to how important it is and how deficient people are. And in order to bridge that gap, usually food is just not able to cover this gap. For the reason being that our soil is just so depleted of nutrients, it's difficult to obtain adequate intake. Even if you, I think, consistently ate a lot of the really high magnesium containing foods, dark chocolate, nuts, those are the things that come to mind. It's just difficult to do. So magnesium is something I think honestly everyone should probably be supplementing with, and I've definitely heard this from a few people I follow in online and stuff that agree with that's the one thing everyone kind of needs. Not a big fan of this lighting right now because the sun does what it wants. That's okay. So magnesium for sure. Secondly would be some type of fish oil. Initially I was a big fan of taking like whatever has the highest EPA and DHA, and I was like numbers, right? But I'm actually more of a fan now of cod liver oil. I think ends up being less processed, and it contains also vitamin A and D naturally in the bioavailable forms, which are also common nutrient deficiencies, especially for people who don't eat animal products or limited animal products. I mean, there's such a varying degree in the space of like omnivores that they might eat red meat once a week or not at all, and only eat lean meats which contain less fat soluble nutrients like vitamins A and D. So I'm a fan of cod liver oil. It's fairly inexpensive. It's an old school remedy too. I mean, back in the day, people would be given cod liver oil if you got sick. It's great for your immune system. I mean, vitamin D and A are both great for your immune system. EPA and DHA, of course, are essential fatty acids, meaning that they're essential for our survival, and we have to obtain them from food because our body cannot create them on their own. Anti-inflammatory effects, great for your cardiovascular health. Antidepressant effects, right? So like they're just critically important, and I think even if you eat fish frequently, like I try to eat fish 3 times a week, plus I have mussels very frequently. I still do the cod liver oil. There's a lot of things to take into consideration, especially when it comes to vitamin D. Living in North America, especially the winter time, like we just don't get enough sun, and even in the summertime, when we're talking like adequate sun exposure, what we're referring to is you're outside with a fair amount of skin exposed, not just like shorts and a t-shirt walking around, like you're sitting there tanning in order to get like adequate sun exposure. Because again, from an evolutionary perspective, we would have been outside for the majority of the day, like all day pretty much, right? We didn't have houses or dwellings or anything like that. So those two are very, very important. Third thing, this is going to be something that I think is more pertinent on your diet, and that is an activated B complex. So there's bunch of different B vitamins. Obviously, when we say a B complex, we're referring to all the kind of known and common B vitamins in one supplement. Getting them activated is super important because a lot of people, because they're deficient in cofactors like magnesium and zinc, that they are unable to activate the B vitamins, even if you do get an adequate intake of them. That and genetics also plays a factor. So you can have problems methylating B vitamins. That's, the MTHFR gene polymorphism is a pretty well-known one. So I would say get your genetics tested to know, because if you don't have any of these polymorphisms and you eat an adequate intake of animal products, you probably don't need to supplement with this. So that's why I kind of put that little caveat in there. They're also water soluble, meaning our body doesn't store them, with the exception of B12. So you need an adequate intake of them every day, which is why it's important to either supplement with them every day or eat a very nutrient dense diet on a daily basis. So like I said, I try to eat fish and mussels throughout the week. I eat red meat every single day. I eat organ meats multiple times a week. Cod liver oil every day, right? So it really depends on your diet, but that one's kind of there's a caveat to the B complex. Desiccated liver supplements. So because people don't eat a lot of organ meats, and a lot of people just don't like the taste of it. I get it, but liver is, I would argue, and so do a lot of other people, that it is the most nutrient dense food on the planet, like hands down. Especially for a lot of things like vitamin A, it's unbeatable, like magnitudes over. It's far and away the highest form of vitamin A. Activated vitamin A, retinol, that's important, like I went over in my last video. So you can get like a desiccated, which is a freeze-dried liver supplement, pretty cheap, like $10 for like a month's worth. You take a capsule a day and you're kind of covering your bases that way. I think that's really important if you're not eating liver, and I do honestly believe that everyone should be eating liver. And then, like I said, kind of when I talked about the fish oil, vitamin D is up there for sure with in terms of common nutrient deficiencies. Again, pertinent, not so much on your diet, because like it is kind of hard to get from food. I mean, like we know egg yolks, we know fish, some mushrooms, but it's mostly from sunshine and depends on where you live. So depend on that. Depend on your cholesterol intake, because if you don't have adequate cholesterol intake, you're not able to synthesize vitamin D from sunlight. So it's a good thing to supplement with. You don't want to overdo it. Definitely, getting a blood test. You can get I think it's called your 25 hydroxy vitamin D, something like that. Get that tested, just so you know, and then you can kind of base your supplement intake on that. And then last one, I think, that at least that I wrote down, would be zinc. So zinc as well, water soluble, need an adequate intake of it every day, common deficiency, but also dependent on your diet. If you eat a lot of red meat and also seafood for sure, I think oysters and mussels, I think, are the two highest food sources of zinc. I could be wrong, but they're definitely up there. So it's dependent on your diet. Bottom line, what it comes down to is, again, your diet. Like so when I first really started getting into health and nutrition, I was like doing tons of research on all these supplements, and I was taking like legit hundreds of dollars worth of supplements because I thought it was so interesting, and what's this gonna do, and blah blah blah. And a coworker of mine that I used to work with at a health food store would always be like, Tyler, just eat better food, eat more whole foods. I'd be like, nah, man, like I want to like try this out, but like I have in that 6 years basically have completely reversed my outlook on that. And they're called supplements for a reason. They're here to supplement a healthy diet and lifestyle. It really does begin with your food. So, but again, going back to like the magnesium thing, even if you have the most perfect diet, I think magnesium is the one thing that would be difficult to get from food. And there's actually a lot of people in the carnivore space that's the one thing they supplement with, and I 100% agree with that. For myself, I use, like I said, magnesium, cod liver oil. I am using some reishi and lion's mane mushroom and ashwagandha right now, only because I have the bottles. I'm just kind of using them up. Like, I don't think I really need them. Betaine hydrochloride, only because low stomach acid is pretty prevalent, and that just helps with digestion. It's, again, really inexpensive. That's basically it. And, food comes down to food. So that's basically what I wanted to say. I hope you guys found value in this. If you did, please leave a comment, give me some feedback, all that. I really appreciate it. I'm going to definitely be more consistent with these videos, especially if this setup really works in terms of video quality, because this is much, much better, I think. And then I'm also going to hopefully get into some editing and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Take care.